Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 107.5 FM WSFD-LP Westfield.
Support for the community programming provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6 o'clock. You are listening to WSFD 107.5 FM on your dial. You are watching Cable Channel 15, WCPC. My name is Tina Gorman. I am your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board and our chief engineer, Pete Coles. Good morning, Pete. I have no microphone.
That's okay. I got to turn myself up.
There you go. Yes, please turn yourself up. So, good morning.
Good morning. It was dark when I walked out the door this morning.
Yeah, it's, you know what, you can sort of feel we're starting to switch over. We're transitioning
today,
out. Yeah, it is going to be warm.
87 today.
Yep.
We finally had a traditional summer.
We did. We did a lot of heat and a lot of humidity. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I understand Europe is getting slammed again this week. So what really makes
That's what happens. You don't believe in air conditioning.
I know. And you know what really, I mean, this is really bad, but so my brother and sister-in-law were there back in June because my great nephew was doing some soccer or something over there, and the whole family went over. Well, that was during the first of the really bad heat waves, and that's what they said.
Well,
they said it wouldn't have been bad except that nothing is air conditioned.
A heat wave for them is different than a heat wave for us. Like a heat wave for them, 90 degrees is a heat wave, right? By any measure.
Right,
standard.
because if you don't have air conditioning, that's
you're screwed.
Really hot, and when you have it days and days in a row, you know,
Yes.
everything's really heated up. So now my
But
brother
things go in cycles, you know. It's not like the first time they've ever had this.
No, I know. And now they're going back to Scotland, and I don't know if the UK is if they're going to experience this extreme heat this week. But I thought, well, that was great timing. So things cooled down, and now they're back, and things.
I understand how that goes because I follow a guy on YouTube called Steve Marsh. He does a lot of travel on ferries. And
Okay.
he kind of documents it all.
Yeah.
And he said that this has been hot over there for them,
Yes.
especially.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
And I'm like, well, and
Yeah.
that's why you saw the videos of all the European soccer fans this summer. Oh my God, air conditioning and grocery stores that are packed and they have multiple choices of things. And
Yes.
I can't believe what
Yes,
it's like over here.
Yes. Yep. Well, yeah.
After all the complaining we do in this country.
I know.
They come over here and go, what the hell
I
is
know. It
this?
was really, I know. We're so spoiled. We are so spoiled for sure. But anyway, so listen, I wanted to talk about Farm Day in Southwick. You know, that was this past Sunday.
Did you guys go?
Well, I didn't because I needed to get into the office. But Grace and Gary and Charlie went. So my husband, my daughter, and my granddaughter went. And they went to Grace had, I told Grace, I said, go on the Southwick website. And because I said there are like a dozen farms. Well, she's 3. She's only going to make it to 1 or 2. That was, So Grace said, okay. She said to me Sunday morning before they left, she goes, all right, I have the farm picked out. Because, I said, you really want to go to one where she can pet the animals. I mean, That's the big deal for her. So they went to Firefly Farms, and Gary and Grace said it was unbelievable. They said it was fabulous. Grace said, and Gary said the same thing. He said there was not an animal there that didn't like to be petted. I mean, they had goats, they had ponies, they had rabbits and chickens and, you name it. Grace said it was fabulous. Gary actually took some really, really great pictures of Charlie and Grace with the animals. And I mean, Grace said it was just so, so good. But here's the thing, and I have to tell Joe Didi this. So Grace said they knew with Charlie they were only going to make it to 1 or 2. So they wanted to do that one, and they were there for over an hour.
Yep.
And then they wanted to go over to Moolicious, and Grace said, but Moolicious didn't open till noon, and it was like, I don't know, 11-something, 11:15 or 11:20 when they went over there. So Grace said it wasn't like we wanted to hang around for, with a 3-year-old for 45 minutes.
Yeah, usually there's no business before that. But
Grace said they were listed on the farm, they were listed on the farm rotation, and it was, though they were supposed to be open from 10 to 4.
Oh.
So Grace said next time, if they're not going to open to noon, just note that on the on the rotation schedule so that people know, because of course they had gotten Charlie all, psyched up for Moolicious, and then, they
want to go. Well, they could have went up to the petting zoo and hung out up there, I guess.
Yeah, I think it was just that she was,
Already
she was,
done?
yeah, it was just that, Grace knew she was kind of maxing out. So, but anyway, she said it was great. It was wonderful. And she said, and that would have been fine. She said, had I known that, she would have timed the petting zoo a little differently, maybe gone a little bit later to do that. So she said just to tell Joe Didi that they just need to note that if they're going to open at noon. But she said everything else was just great. It was a wonderful day for it, but that was part of it. I think she wanted to get there kind of as soon as things opened, just because they weren't sure about the heat and all that kind of stuff. But it was great. Grace said they had a really, really good time. So thank you to Southwick for doing that. And I know after my show today, is Everything Southwick, so tune into that
Yep.
at
So
8 o'clock.
Doug Moglen will be here.
Yep, but they certainly did that right. So kudos to them and to everybody that was involved
And
in
then
the planning.
Big upcoming for them is the 29th. It's their big
Yes.
kind of 250 celebration with the parade.
Yep, and their fireworks.
And they're going to do it from the school over to the motocross 350 or the Wally Park.
Okay.
So it's not going to be as big as normal, but the police said, hey, we can pull this off without having extra manpower and things like that.
Wow.
So we can do that. We can close
Good.
that one section off and
Good.
kind of do it that way.
Good. And the 29th, is that Saturday or Sunday? Saturday?
It's a Saturday.
Saturday. Okay. So it's
Yeah,
next,
right before
next
the kids.
Saturday.
Right
before
after the kids come.
Yeah,
Some places kids
yeah.
are starting school.
Do we? When?
Hell, down south they've already started.
Oh God, yeah. They start like it's crazy.
They also get out,
when
like,
we
around
try
the
to
same
plan
time.
vacation, like family vacations on my side of the family. I have a niece that lives in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I mean, those kids have been back since like the first week in August.
Yeah,
and my
but they
sister-in-law
also get
was,
out,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
they also get out in
they
the
get
middle
out
of
really,
May.
yeah. They get out really early.
Yep.
And then they start back really. So when you're trying to plan vacations, and
gotta
you
do
know,
it in
with
July.
families, it's that's it. You have July because my other niece who lives in the Baltimore area, they're like us. Their kids don't get out until mid to later June, depending on snow days.
Yep.
And so, yeah, you kind of have the month of July, and that's it. So, but anyway, so that was wonderful. So, Farm Day was great. There was something else that I wanted to say. I don't remember now. How was your week? Yeah, I know. We'll figure it out. How was your weekend, Pete?
Saturday we went for a couples massage,
Ooh.
and halfway through I felt something pop.
Uh-oh.
But I think it was a good pop
Oh, okay.
because it's probably
Yeah.
something in my lower back.
Yeah,
that
she just kind of released it.
Yeah, she said she thought it was my hip, but it was dead center, so it had to
Yeah.
be something. Like, when I've had the bulging disc and all that stuff over
Yeah.
the years, so I'm like, something might have just popped out. It might have been nice, but Sunday I was just kind of like around the house.
Yep.
I didn't kind of do anything.
That's what I
was
did
like,
Saturday.
I was
Yeah.
like, I'm going to rest and make sure this heals properly, and I'm not going to push it because I
Yeah.
could have.
Yep.
And then, then
Yeah.
Monday back to work. So
Yeah, perfect. And what? Speaking of like back to work, reminds me of like back to school. When does Westfield start back? Because I
think
know it
they
is before
start the
Labor Day. But
the 26th, I think.
okay, yeah,
I know it's like next week sometime.
yeah.
I know they're scrambling here to get the school done.
Well, I have to tell you, that parking lot is a dream right now. I mean, it's they read, of course, as you know, our avid viewers know that they redid the parking lot over the summer, and it's just so nice. It's so smooth, and I love that the lines are painted, so I can see exactly where to park. I don't have to sort of figure it out. I just pull up right next to you, Pete, and I'm good to go. I love it. Yeah,
It's
I
a
love it.
lot better than what it was.
Oh
that's
my
for
goodness!
sure.
Well, as you said, it was like a landmine out there. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
So the other thing that I've been doing that I wanted to talk about, because this is a follow-up from last week's show, is I have been reading Ken Stomsky's book, Cruising for People. Like, have you read it?
No,
I got to tell you.
I've lived it.
Well, no, you know what?
I've traveled with Ken.
I have to tell you, this is a great book. It is really, really well done. It was interesting because Kenny gave me a copy. I had actually ordered a copy, but it hadn't come in before I interviewed him. And, I've talked to Ken enough to kind of know the gist of what it was all about. But when the book came in, of course, last Wednesday night, and I interviewed him Wednesday morning. So I started reading it. And when I first opened it up and kind of leafed through, I thought, okay, this is a really different book because there are no paragraphs. It's just like all lines. So I was like, oh, okay. But you know what? It works. And I have to tell you, it is so well written and it is so well put together. He's almost got me convinced to go on a cruise. I mean,
I'll give you the dates we're going if you want to come with us.
I just have to tell you, it was, I just love the way he laid it out. There is definitely some humor. There's a little bit of sarcasm, but not over the top, just enough to make it fun and funny. But it is really packed with information. I am really learning a lot. And Gary's going to be doing an Alaskan cruise, which I have no interest in, but he's going to be doing that in a year and change. So
Yep.
he's going with a group, of friends, people that he knows and so forth. But so I haven't gotten to the chapter, that Kenny has for like preparing for that and all of that kind of stuff. Right now, it's really interesting. I'm going through the different cruise lines, and he kind of outlines. What I love about it is completely unbiased. I mean, he's really good about saying, this is what, this is the way it is. This cruise lines does this, does this really well. This mediocre. So it depends. What are your priorities? What's important to you?
What are you looking to do?
What are you looking to do? And he really drills that in the book, that it's not, it's not a one size fits all. And as he said, he has interviewed people that took the exact same cruise on the exact same ship, and one thought it was the best thing ever, and one said, I won't do this again. Because it depends on what are your expectations? What do you want to get out of it? If food is important to you, then you want a cruise lines with, amazing food. If entertainment is important, but if you want something that's more laid back, or, he just is nailing it. And I'm about maybe a third of the way through.
Yep.
Not quite half, not quite at the halfway point, but I have to say.
Carnival. I've done Carnival. I've done, we did Disney when I was married.
Yeah, I did. The only one I've ever done is Disney, and it was great. It was wonderful.
It is.
It was short.
You pay for it.
Yeah. We did the Disney, the cruise combination. Yeah, the half and half.
Yep. We're going to do MSC this time, and I want to try. Well, Margaritaville's cheap, but it is what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and he talks about that.
Right, and then I want to try. Is it NCL, Norwegian, or Holland America? One of those two.
Norwegian, Holland. Norwegian was, I think, the one that I was kind of intrigued with.
Right.
I just read the piece on MSC, so that that was kind of intriguing.
He had a tough time with MSC because we've talked about it.
Okay.
Because he went on, they're just coming into the American market, like in the last 2 years.
Yes.
So they're learning the American market,
yes,
which is different than the European market.
Yeah.
Because traditionally they've been like the European coast, and they've been the Mediterranean, which is a whole different animal, especially taste-wise. Like guest taste.
Yes.
But they also attract a more international audience, even to the Americas. So their cruise is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think they're Italian based.
I just, I have to say, if he said it once, he's already said it 100 times. Like, it's entirely based on what you want, the experience that you want. So, and he also is very open with, some of the things that he prefers and not, but he's very careful to say, this is just me.
You're right.
I'm not recommending one over another because
I'm a male, 55 and single.
And a solo traveler. And he talks about that. Some cruise lines are more geared toward families. Some are more geared toward, couples or adults or, whatever.
Virgin is the best one for solos.
Solo. And that's what it sounded like. Yeah.
Virgin, and I think MSC has some solo rooms too. Mm-hmm. Some planes have solo cabins.
I haven't gotten to he has a section on that, on choosing your cabin and so forth, which he talked about a little bit last week when he was on the show, and I haven't gotten there yet. But anyway, it's really a great book. It's Ken Stomsky is the author, and the book is Cruising for People Like You. Very readable, and it's the kind of book where.
By the way, he's already released the video. I don't know if you saw it.
I have not.
Yeah, he clipped out the whole interview and he released it on his YouTube page.
Good. I as I said, I'm just very, very impressed. I thought he did a wonderful job. So I would highly encourage people, if you have any interest at all in cruising, or even if you don't, I got to tell you, it's a fun read. It's just a fun book to kind of go, I hadn't really thought about that, and so. Yeah.
By the way, first day of school is August 31st, which is a Monday.
It is a Monday. It's the day before Election Day,
and it's the week. It's the week before Labor Day, so Labor Day is late.
Labor Day is very. Believe me, I know all of this because I'm working on the newsletter. So those dates are like in my head. Yep.
And like the Big E doesn't start till the 18th this year.
Oh, thank you for letting me know that.
October 5th.
Okay.
4th? Well, October 4th.
You know what, Pete? It's so funny. I was just talking about this yesterday with someone who is going to borrow some medical equipment, and she's going to be having some surgery. She said, well, I really, I think I really would like to borrow a transfer wheelchair. And I said, well, when's your surgery? And it's in September. And I said to her, well, I have transfer wheelchairs now. I said, we need to get the paperwork done now because I said, Big E time. I have zero transfer because a lot of people want to borrow them. They only borrow them short term. I need it for the weekend, or I need it for the week. If they have a pass, they're going to go back and forth. But I said they're like gold during Big E. That's what Big E, like September and June.
Yeah, because you can get them there, but you got to pay for it.
Yeah, and it's then you're always worried, like, will they have one there when I need it and all this stuff.
Now you can rent it in advance.
Oh, you can.
They have an app now. You can rent it in advance.
Good for me to know that. Okay,
so
I can
motorized scooters and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Because we went through that last year with Bobby Goff. He needed it because of his foot.
Yeah.
And he was able to rent it in advance.
Okay.
And it wasn't unreasonable. I think it was under $100 for the day or something like that.
Yeah. Well, no wonder people want to borrow them from me. They're free. No, of course, ours are transfer wheelchairs, so somebody has to push you.
Right. This is motorized.
This is motorized, so that's a different
different animal. But
yeah, it is.
He enjoyed it. He was like, this is great.
Yeah, because if it's motorized, people can operate it themselves, which is really nice. But anyway, so, yep, all good. So interesting to know that the Biggie, that is very late for them to start, like, the 18th of September. That's super late. But yeah, everything's kind of pushed around. Election, the state primary election is
the
Tuesday.
4th?
No, it's the 1st. September 1st is a Tuesday.
Is it really?
Yep. So we are a polling station at the senior center, and I'm going to tell you right now, Pete, Wednesday the 2nd is either going to be a best of, or if you want to bring somebody in to do election stuff, because I'm going to do the graveyard shift. Mike and I usually split that.
There's not a ton of contested races, really.
I know, but you know what? What I have discovered, because they are so, detail-oriented at the polling stations.
Oh, yeah, they're going to be out.
They will be there. 2 years ago, I said the same thing. I'm like, yeah, exactly. I'm like, okay, this should be pretty easy, low-key race and so forth. We didn't get out of there until like 10:30. Because the polls are open till 8, and it just takes a while to do what they have to do afterwards. So that's why Mike Squindo and I split it. He lives in Wilbraham. I'm like, you don't need to be getting home at 11:30 or whatever. So I'll do that. So the next morning, I will not be doing the show on the 2nd. And Carol Palmer, it would normally be her week. She's going to do it with me the following week.
I was going to say, you could always tape a show on Monday if you wanted to.
No, I don't have time.
Okay.
So, nope, I already have and September has 5 Wednesdays anyway, so we'll do either a best of or an analysis, whatever you guys want to do. And then Carol will be with me on the 9th, and then I've got my guests lined up after that. So
I guess you do have 5 Wednesdays.
Good. Yeah, we do. We have 5 Wednesdays. Believe me, I'm working on the newsletter, so the September newsletter, we have a lot going on. It's pretty packed. All right, where are we on? Do we have a sighting on?
He just pulled in.
Oh, he did.
I saw a white vehicle pulling in out of the corner of my eye.
Good. Okay, because it has been ages since Dr. Akinyele Lovelace was with us. He's going to be joining us.
We gave him a summer sabbatical.
When he was here last time, I checked my book because he kind of slept through the March one. February. He has not been here since February. Well, partly because I had my foot surgery. So we were, I was off for several weeks. Yep. He had a couple of months that he couldn't do that kind of were, back to back on that. Like I think April and June he couldn't do.
Yep.
And then July I was off for vacation or whatever. So anyway, here we are. He is here. He is back. Let's bring Dr. Lovelace in with his own song, Call the Doctor by Diamond Temple, his father-in-law. You are listening to WSFD 107.5 FM on your dial. You are watching cable channel 15, WCPC. When we come back, when we be back, the good doctor will be with us. We'll be right back.
Got this monkey on my back, got like nipping at my heels, turning on my wheels. What's this pain in my chest? No, I really don't want to gas. Appointment overdue. See, $28 when I woke up yesterday, and I can't remember if I took my meds today. It's alright, I won't remember anyway. Rock it like a two-step, then call the doctor. It's time to refrain from what you do. A little lost in your cup,
Support for community radio provided by Westfield Electroplating. Employing over 140 skilled platers, painters, and technicians, Westfield Electroplating was founded in 1946 and was the first company in the country to achieve National Aerospace and Defense Contractor Program accreditation, proudly maintaining that status for over a decade. Westfield Electroplating provides over 50 quality finishes to meet your corrosion, cosmetic, or performance needs. On the web at www.westfieldplating.com or 413-568-3716. Westfield Electroplating, putting the finishing touches on technology.
Listen to me, Michael Buster McMahon, Mondays 8 to 10 a.m. to learn the stories behind your favorite songs. Or don't. I'm not the boss of you.
Community Radio.
107.5 FM WSFD. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 107.5 FM WSFD-LP Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:22. You are listening to WSFD 107.5 FM on your dial. You are watching Cable Channel 15 WCPC. My name is Tina Gorman. I am your Wake Up Wednesday host. And my guest this morning is Dr. Akinyele Lovelace. I'm so excited that he's back. It's been a long time since we've seen him. Lots of things have happened in the last, 6 months, really, since you've been on the show. So welcome back. I see you have your advanced manufacturing shirt on. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to really just pin down one of the guys at Advanced Manufacturing, demand one of these.
Yeah.
Because I'm a big fan of the company and what they do for the community.
Thank you. I think that's great. I love it. And now I have to pin him down so I can get mine. I'll see him next week, so I will do that. All right. August is Immunization Awareness Month. Lots to talk about here. So let me do a little intro.
Sure.
I just also want to say that in the last month, there have been 2 articles in the Westfield News by Juanita Carnes, who is a nurse practitioner. Yeah. I love Juanita. She used to be a member. She was a member of the Board of Health in Westfield for many
She used to work
years.
in the emergency room.
Yeah, she is awesome. And, she started writing a weekly article in the Westfield News during the pandemic. So this is now, we are 6 years into this. When the pandemic, when things kind of transitioned out to some sense of normalcy, I thought, it was going to go by the wayside. And mostly during the pandemic, it was just to, get the information out there so people had the correct information. She has continued to write this weekly article. It's every Saturday. It's in Saturday's paper. It is sometimes it's the only thing I read. Well, Senator Vilas also does a weekly one that comes out Saturday. So every Saturday, I'm almost sure, reading both of those. But Juanita did one back in July, which was encouraging news on Lyme vaccine. That was the first I'd heard about that.
Wow.
And then she just did one this past Saturday, vaccine skepticism is leading to resurgence in public health threats. So I would really encourage people. It's in Saturday's Westfield News. She's so smart. She's just I'm such a fan. I feel like I'm a groupie. And her son works at the senior center. So I said to her son, give your mother my card. I got to get her on my show. All right. August is Immunization Awareness Month. The American Association of Immunologists recommend that all adults and children get regular immunizations to stay healthy and safe. Immunology is the study of all aspects of the immune system. The human immune system is very complex, and when it isn't working properly, the result can be disease, autoimmunity, or illness. Immunologists are scientists who have specialized training in immunology, focusing on research, including vaccine research and development. AAI members have been responsible for the development of numerous life-saving vaccines, including those for polio, measles, mumps, rubella, and chickenpox. Why is it so important to get regular immunizations? Many people think that so-called natural immunity or herd immunity will keep them safe, or that many of the diseases for which we immunize don't exist anymore, but that's not true. First of all, diseases like polio or measles, as we're finding out, especially with measles, are rare because generations of people were immunized against them. But outbreaks do occur all over the world, and today, with so many people able to travel frequently, exposure certainly can happen. Second, getting immunized protects you and those around you by limiting the spread of disease. The more people who are vaccinated, the less likely a major outbreak will occur. Immunization is key to creating herd immunity. Lastly, vaccination is much safer than trying to develop natural immunity from a disease because some diseases can have lasting damaging effects on your body, which can be completely avoided by getting vaccinated instead. So how do vaccines protect us? Another myth about vaccines is that they make you sick or overload your immune system. But vaccines help our immune systems fight infection faster and more effectively. Vaccines are made of very small amounts of weak or dead germs, so they won't make you sick. Some people can experience mild side effects from some vaccines, such as soreness at the injection site, but these dissipate quickly. When you get a vaccine, it sparks your immune response and trains your body to recognize disease-causing germs and fight them off if they ever invade your body. So there's your intro.
Yeah, but I love how you brought the topic about getting sick. We deal with that on a pretty consistent basis. And you know, for me, right, it's almost equivalent a lot of times to when someone starts to exercise for the first time again and they feel sore,
yes,
and they don't like how they feel, right? And I understand that, but that little bit of discomfort is sometimes necessary in order for us to kind of get to that next level. But if you've never had that opportunity to do that, then it's a hard concept. And we get to a point a lot of times as adults. I'm going to focus primarily on the adults. As children, for me, it's a no-brainer. However, since my primary practice is adults, for a lot of adults, we tend to want to lean in our comfort zone more than anything else. And so if it makes us feel uncomfortable or we don't like how we feel, we're less inclined to do it if we don't really understand the value of it for us going forward. I think the other point that you brought up when we start talking about like herd immunity or just doing it naturally, I think the issue here that we have to take into account is like the why. Like, why do we need to do this? And then the question should really revolve around, if I understand the why, am I up to date? Right? I think those are the two concepts that I really think we should kind of focus on. And the reason is because as we age, and I think that is the thing that we struggle with a lot of times as we continue to go through this process. I think the value of what I bring to the table when talking to my patients is to really give them insight as to, is this part of aging or is this something else, right? I think that's kind of where, yes, you kind of look things up on Google, you can kind of, but putting it together in its totality, I think, is the most important concept. And yes, when you're in your 20s and 30s, I think life's a little bit different for us, right?
Yes.
In your 20s and 30s, for the most part, a large majority of us don't have a lot of underlying medical problems, right? I think that is the key thing there. And unfortunately, or fortunately, a lot of my adults, or the adults that I work with, or the adults that I see, tend to think that their immune system is the same immune system that they had in their 20s and 30s.
Okay.
I have a lot of adults who just think that, well, you know, I've been taking this said medication for all these years. Why do I need to do something different? Well, because as our bodies continue to age, there's certain things that just happen, right? And you know, some of us have recent surgeries, some of us have recent diagnoses, some of us get really sick. And I think the key thing that we have to think about is, as we continue to get older, certain conditions do come up. Like, there's no denying that. And so when you have diabetes, when you have heart disease, when you have COPD, when you have asthma, when you have a chronic illness, I think we have to start having conversations about, well, how do we protect ourselves? Because if we do get these type of processes that do occur, how will they affect us? And so why is that important? It's important because, I'll give an example.
Okay.
If you were to get the flu, right? Let's just say influenza. Let's start there.
Okay.
If your immune system suddenly stopped working and you turn 65, you just become less responsive, right? So if you get the flu in your 20s, you might get a little sick. But if you get your flu in your 67, you might get pneumonia, and then you might get hospitalized. And for anybody that's had to pay a hospital bill recently, that could be a pretty costly thing. And it's not like our cost of living is going down. Our cost of living is actually going up. You don't need me to tell you that. But so are our medical expenses, right? The primary issue and a lot of the arguments that are occurring right now between unions and corporate types and even at the state and government levels is that coverage for healthcare is only getting more expensive. And so in your 20s, you might get the flu, you might feel okay, you might feel a little crummy, but you're not getting hospitalized. RSV, respiratory syncytial virus, we're going to talk about that. When you're in your 20s and 30s, nothing might happen. But as you get a little bit older, you could really get some significant lung issues that can occur from that. Pneumococcal infection. Let's talk about pneumococcal infection. Pneumococcal infection it can start as pneumonia, but then it can become a bloodstream infection, and then it can become meningitis. So wait, what you're telling me is that if I had gotten this shot, I would have not gotten pneumonia, I would have not had a bloodstream infection, and I would not have gotten an infection on my brain. Yes, I would have reduced that chance and likelihood. So like those are the things that start to occur. Shingles. What are shingles? Well, shingles can be a reactivation of your chicken pox, and most of the adults that I deal with right now, primarily our baby boomers and those in their our Gen X's now. We all had chicken pox, and so you mean to tell me you want prolonged nerve pain? Right, like those are the conversations that we have to have, and then COVID speaks for itself for a lot of scenarios with even what we're seeing with long COVID. So I think the key point here is that we have to just think about this from a much more practical perspective. What vaccines should I be thinking about as I turn a certain age? What changes once I turn 65? Do I need certain things? Like, do I need them, and why do I need them? Right, and I think those are the questions that I think are extremely important that we should really address going forward. So that's what I see when I kind of hear about what we just talked about in the opening.
Okay, perfect. And I just want to say this. We're going to take a break in a minute, but I like your I love the exercise analogy. Sort of like, I started exercising, I hadn't, now I'm sore. Do I really want to do this? And I would also use, you talked about your, immune system when you're younger and you get the flu versus when you're older. I would say the exact same thing, because every older adult is going to understand this. It's the same thing with a fall.
Yes.
When you are young and you take a fall, you dust yourself off, you're a little bit bruised, you might have some black and blue, you're kind of angry at yourself, I slipped, I fell. But as well as I know, when you're over 65, you're in your 70s, your 80s, you take a fall, that could be the recipe for and I always say, when I was teaching at Springfield College, I used to tell my students this: a fall for somebody who's older could mean a broken hip, which runs into a hospitalization, which runs into a surgery, which runs into nursing home placement, which sometimes means you're not going home. I mean, for some people, they're in decent shape. For others, that's the difference. So I think it's the same kind of analogy of, pneumonia for somebody who's in your 20s and 30s. Yes, it's going to be a pain, but you're going to get over it, and life goes on and you're going to go back to work. For somebody in their 80s, you may not get over it.
And I love that concept just because of the fact that when you're younger, you're not afraid of falling, right? When we're younger, we're riding our bikes, we're working on our balance, we're even doing strength training, right? We're doing those things. But as we get a little bit older, we become more and more isolated. And so our exposure risk, right? The exercise that our immune system has to have in order to kind of be exposed, right? Going to 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, like all those grade schools, you're always exchanging viruses and sicknesses. If you're sitting at home by yourself and you're rarely even getting out, I have a lot of adults that the only time they ever leave their home is when they come to the doctor's office. So you definitely are putting yourself at risk, and you're not giving your immune system the exercise that it requires. Yeah,
and if the only place you're going to is to the doctor's office, like, where do you think you might get sick? I mean, you're in a room with people that are, Okay, so on that note, if you're just joining us this morning, my guest is Dr. Akinyele Lovelace. Dr. Lovelace is a primary care physician here in Westfield. The topic for today is immunization, particularly immunization for adults and older adults. So we are going to take a short break. You are listening to WSFD 107.5 FM on your dial. You are watching cable channel 15, WCPC. So we're going to listen to Pat Benatar singing Hit Me With Your Best Shot. We'll be back.
Let's get down to it.
Underwriting for the community programming is provided by the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Westfield, serving the youth of the Whip City and surrounding communities since 1969. For more information on the Great Futures Club for ages 3 to 5, happening weekdays, and the Club Teen Center for ages 11 and older, weekdays from 6:30 till 8 p.m., go online at bcgwestfield.org or visit the club at 28 West Silver Street. The Boys and Girls Club of Greater Westfield. Great futures start here.
Hi, it's Bob Plass, and I have Wow, It's Tuesday, every Tuesday, 6 to 8. Wow, it's Tuesday.
Community Radio.
107.5 FM WSFD.
I did it!
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 107.5 FM WSFD-LP Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:39. You are listening to WSFD 107.5 FM on your dial. You are watching cable channel 15, WCPC. My name is Tina Gorman. I am your Wake Up Wednesday host, and my guest this morning is Dr. Akinyele Lovelace. Dr. Lovelace is a primary care physician here in Westfield, primarily treating adults, and he has a very large older adult practice. And the topic today is immunization, because August is Immunization Awareness Month. And I think, Dr. Lovelace, you mentioned several, and I want to go back to some of the specifics on some of these vaccines that we're talking about, but I think most of us think about the flu vaccine, kind of like it's the only one. It's the flu vaccine. But now we have, obviously, COVID. I mean, that came through with COVID. But, there are a lot of other vaccines out there. And I think, people are thinking, are there too many? Could I get over vaccinated if I have one for all of these different things? So how does that, talk a little bit about that? And, and what do you think are most important?
So we're gonna do the big five.
Okay.
Right? So
I love that. Great. What do you have for the big five?
So the big five are the following.
Okay.
So there are 5 vaccines that we all should know.
Okay.
Influenza.
Yeah.
Right. Influenza every year. According to the CDC, and I still love the scientists that are there, they recommend either some type of high dose or recombinant vaccination every year. Okay. And why is flu? Why flu? Well, because flu is more than just a bad cold, right?
Yeah.
And for some adults, flu can precipitate pneumonia, which is an infection in your lung, but it can also precipitate heart problems and even functional decline, right? So it's not a some people get it and they shake it off, but some people really it impacts them. It impacts them.
I have 2 things that I want to say. One is thank you that it's not just a cold, because I hear that from people. It's like, so if I get it, it's just a cold. I'm like, no, it's not just a cold. The flu is way more than that. The other thing that I'm going to do is my little infomercial here. So the September newsletter for the Senior Center will be coming out a week from Saturday. We do have flu clinics scheduled for early October. We do this every year. It is free to you, so you don't have to, you do have to sign up for advance. So all of that information on how to register, and we do have our nurse back from the health department. Evelyn Bristol is back with us, so she'll be helping people to get the registration done. But we are partnering once again with Stop and Shop, so we'll be doing both flu and COVID. People will have their option, and we do the high dose flu vaccine. Unless they'll have some of the other if there's a reason why somebody can't do that one. But so there's my little infomercial. So stay tuned for details, but no excuse not to get it, because you can get it at the Senior Center.
Pneumococcal vaccination, right? This is definitely the one that, for a lot of people, you should know the following. If you're 65 or older and you're not sure you've had a pneumonia vaccine, don't guess. Either ask your doctor's office or the pharmacy. Pharmacies now are really taking over the vaccine kind of market, which I think is a good thing, because anybody can walk into the pharmacy. And if you allow that stuff to kind of be reported to a registry, it's much more easier now to kind of be up to date for what you're doing.
Yeah, to go back and have them say, oh, well, you had this, and such a date.
Guidelines have actually expanded to routine pneumonia vaccination to adults beginning at the age of 50, which I think is excellent, right?
Okay.
Now, there are different types. We don't necessarily need to get into that. I think what's the most important thing to do is to check to make sure that you've received one, right? And
how often do you get I've never had a pneumonia vaccine. How often do you get that?
You should get your pneumonia shot you should get at least once, but it's going to be dependent upon which one you get.
I see.
So some of the newer ones that are most of them will start with the letters PCV. If you ever look at your chart record, there's a variety of different ones, but the key concept here is if you've gotten a newer version of it, you probably only need it once. Now, if you've turned 65 and you have other types of issues that have gone on in your life, you may need to get it again, depending upon which one you received.
Got it.
For the most part, you only need it once, but like I said, it's really important to kind of check with your provider or your pharmacist to discuss which one you received, because that will determine if you need another one.
Okay.
But that's extremely important just because we don't want to get pneumonia, right? And pneumonia caused by pneumococcal. Pneumococcal is a type of bacteria, right? So I need to reinforce that concept. Bacterial infections, you don't get immune to bacterial infections. They are what they're going to be. And so the issue is if you have a bacterial infection that lasts in your body, it sometimes can then get into your bloodstream, and then it can cause what people hate to hear is something called sepsis, where it starts to affect different parts of your organs, right? That's where this is going. And so all of a sudden, this pneumonia infection that was in your lungs then got into your bloodstream and then gets into your brain. That becomes a bigger problem. And so then that really makes life a little bit more difficult. So I think that's a really important thing that we have to take into account.
Yeah, absolutely.
Number 3 on the list, if we're talking about our big 5, would be shingles, right? Shingles is a thing we have to. So, and a lot of people say, I already had chickenpox. Why do I need this? Well, the purpose of the vaccination isn't necessarily to guarantee that you won't get like chickenpox. It's to reduce your risk of complications associated with shingles, right? And so what does shingles do? Well, shingles can actually cause a horrible, painful rash. If anyone's ever had it, it can cause significant nerve pain, sleep disruptions, prolonged pain after the rash appears, even eye complications. I tell people all the time, the worst thing you could ever have to deal with is someone who had chickenpox. They get shingles and they get it on their face. And then it gets into their eye and it gets into their ear.
What? And I just had somebody in one of my support groups who had eye surgery, then had some other stuff that she was dealing with, and then a few months later ended up with shingles in her eye. She said it was awful.
Devastating.
I hadn't seen her in a while. She hadn't been to the group, and I couldn't figure out why. And she said because it took me that long to recover. She said it was bad.
It's devastating. Yeah. And now it's a 2-shot series. It's called Shingrix now. The prior one wasn't as effective, right? And so, I've done this long enough now where there was a time where it wasn't necessarily covered, right? And that was a lot of a deterrent for a lot of people, right?
Yes.
Not the case anymore. This version is so much more effective. It is a 2-shot series, and so yes, you do have to get 1 shot, and then you got to come back a little bit later.
I know. I think it's like actually that I'm due for I have never had a shingle shot. I keep saying that I was going to do it, and actually, the funny thing is I thought to myself, "Ooh, this weekend is this week would actually be the best week," because I think it's 6 months. I think I know my husband did it, and the first one, and then it's like 6 months later. But the problem is that I always remembered it when I was having the flu COVID vaccine. I was like, all right, I don't want to triple up on all this stuff at one time.
Correct. So. And so, and keep in mind, a lot of people will say, well, I had the old shingles vaccination years ago. Do I still need it? I would say yes.
Yes. Okay.
I've already had shingles. Do I still need it? The answer is yes, because you could always get shingles again.
I know. And we've had some seniors that have, which I didn't realize that. I was like, oh my God, how do you get this twice? So yeah,
remember this is an immune system, right?
Yes.
So this virus, the shingles virus, chickenpox virus, right? It never leaves us. It stays with us. It's like our forever friend. It just stays dormant, right?
Yeah.
Because our immune system has the ability to keep it at bay. However, as we get a little bit older, certain stressors can come about and they can reactivate. And so that's why that's important. Number 4 on the list is RSV, right? And RSV is probably one of the newer vaccines.
Yeah, let's talk about that one, because I think there are people that don't even know what RSV stands for. So
respiratory syncytial virus, right? And most people a lot of times will associate RSV with infants, right? So that's been the thing that we see a lot of times in the community. And in all fairness, I think even in the medical community, we really associated RSV with really putting for infants at risk, right? Mm-hmm. That was a huge thing for us. But our immune systems, just like when we're very young and when we have aged significantly, are compromised to a certain extent. And so it is recommended. And so the recommendation is that for adults 75 and older, one RSV vaccine dose, if they haven't received one, should get one, right?
Okay.
And for adults 50 to 74, one dose is recommended if they're at an increased risk for severe RSV. And so what does that mean if you're at risk? At risk usually means that you have some type of chronic lung disease.
Okay.
You have heart disease.
Okay.
You have diabetes. Your immune system is compromised. So if you're someone that has to take steroids on a very persistent basis, maybe you have to be on some type of chemotherapy. Maybe like and typically those are the instances. Even a lot of these newer medicines for types of psoriasis and inflammatory bowel issues that are starting to come about can be put in that category. You live in a nursing home, right? All of those things are extremely important. And so RSV is one of those things that I would highly recommend that we take into account. In a lot of scenarios, even for my adults who are very proactive in their 50s, they found that they got a little bit of pushback last year from some pharmacies, but they're starting to update that, and so it shouldn't be too difficult for you to get that. So
yes, and we actually had a staff member last year who had RSV and was out for weeks. I mean, it was
it's devastating.
And she had actually talked about that when we talked about the flu clinic. She said, what about the RSV vaccine? She was asking about that as well, because I think once you get hit with it, you are very sensitive to these things.
And timing is important with this one, right? Timing is important with this one simply just because. Right, like the flu, you're talking about October and that time. Same thing. RSV, ideally, August through October is probably the most reasonable time to think about having your vaccination, simply because this is more than likely the time we're going to see RSV spread in the continental United States, right? So that is kind of that time frame.
And with some of these vaccines, doctor, do you have to space them? I mean, like we do COVID and flu at the same time, but I don't know, like
no.
With RSV, that you could throw it in there as well.
You could throw it in there. I mean,
and pneumonia.
You could throw them all in there if you'd like. I mean, I think for a lot of people, they're just like, I only have two arms.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Where are we going with this, right?
But it's not like I have to wait a certain number of months or weeks or whatever.
No,
okay.
I think that's really just based on preference for a lot of people, which I respect and I understand because I think the thought process here is, well, what if I have a response or what if I have a reaction?
Yeah, exactly.
How am I going to know? And I get that. Especially if it's a vaccine that you haven't had before, sure, that makes sense. So that's why I really like to give patients. For me, it's like, all right, so if I were to go through that thought process about, well, I don't want to take them all at the same time.
Right.
What should the cadence be? Well, I would tell them this. I'd say, hey, listen, the leaves are starting to change. I love New England in August. This is my favorite time. This is one of my favorite months here. And so I would say, towards the end of this month, you should really be thinking about getting your flu shot. And if you haven't had your pneumonia shot, you definitely need to start thinking about getting that like now, right?
Yep.
And then right around, if you're looking around and you're starting to notice that the Halloween candy is becoming a little bit more robust, you definitely need to start thinking about your RSV shot. And absolutely, if it's already Thanksgiving, it's time.
Yeah,
like,
you should be.
You should.
I remember going through and actually researching this for myself on sort of the ideal times of when, especially like flu vaccine and pneumonia vaccine and those kinds of things, like ideal times during the year that you want to be careful about that.
And then COVID is still on the list.
It's still a thing.
It still happens, right?
Yeah.
We still see it. It still becomes something that we hospitalize people for, even to this day. And current guidelines, let's discuss those.
Sure.
For adults 65 and older, CDC's current 2025-2026 guidance recommendations, 2 doses of the updated COVID vaccine, right, is recommended, right? And so I feel like for most adults, they have been inundated with COVID shots and COVID vaccines over the past couple of years and seasons. And I would encourage it, right? I would encourage it simply just because if you're one of those people who are at risk, I'm always going to be a yes on prevention and reducing your risk for being hospitalized. And we know what happened. And most people say, well, hey, listen, doc, I'm tired of it. I say, listen, I understand. I completely understand, but I'm in the business of seeing people live long.
Right.
And so I want to reduce my risk or reduce your risk for having anything that could decrease your life expectancy. I have a bias towards that.
Well, and it's right, and it kind of it's also sort of like quality of life. The thing is like I know we've talked a lot about exercise and good nutrition and all those other things on this program and specifically with you. But the reality is that when you get knocked with one of these things, you are out for weeks, and so so it's like starting all over. I mean, even for the most conscientious of us, it's like, I got to start from square one, because when you've been, knocked out and just, in bed, isolated and all that other stuff and just really not feeling well, when you do start to feel better, and hopefully you will, then you're starting back from square one. So who wants to do that? No. And I will tell you this, and I have not heard you talk at all about this, something going into the blood and then into the brain. And you mentioned the word meningitis. Well, let me tell you, I am a meningitis survivor. Yeah. So I had meningitis when I was 13, and I was literally out of school for 3 months. I got it in September, a week after school started. I didn't go back until after the holidays in January. Had to get tutored at home. And I was 13 and in great shape. So I can't really imagine going through the meningitis experience now at the age of 69 and coming out of that as the same person as when I went in. So that in and of itself for me, because I have never really heard that association of this could happen to this, to this, to then we can actually transition over to something that's really pretty significant.
And I think a lot of times it's because we I think from a medical community perspective, you don't necessarily want to be overly dramatic either about these things.
No, I get it.
Like scare tactics work, but you don't want to always scream and yell that the sky is falling, right? But those are the things that we deal with on a pretty routine basis. Yeah. So and that is becoming a concern. So those are the 5, right? Those are the 5. That the conversation should be there. It should be flu, pneumonia, shingles, COVID, RSV, right?
Okay.
Those are my top 5.
Got it.
That you should absolutely have conversations with your provider annually, in all fairness, right? Okay. But there's 2 more if I have a second.
Okay, go. You have time. You got another 5 minutes.
So the other one that I always want to remind our adults to making sure that they are asking about is your tetanus shot.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that one, right?
Yep.
Or Tdap, right? So tetanus, diphtheria, and whooping cough, right? Yep. And you should absolutely have one, every 8 to 10 years, but 10 years is fine. So that's why I was like round numbers. So anytime someone had turned 30, 40, 50, I'm like, hey, when was your last tetanus shot?
I know, but you know what? That's what's so hard. Is like, I don't know, my last tetanus shot. Let me think about that, because 10 years is a long time.
It is a long time, and I think it's super important for a lot of us who are becoming grandparents or great-grandparents. Yeah. I think it's so important that we understand that if we're going to be around young infants, right, we can give this poor child whooping cough. And that's, for those who've ever had to work with a child that has whooping cough, it's very scary. Yeah. And it's sometimes they can be hospitalized. And so this is one of those opportunities where you really want to have those conversations about protecting yourself, but also protecting this very small children that you might come in contact with, because there's nothing better than being around younger children. It's always heartwarming to see a brand new baby sometimes, to hold them and then give them right back. But I think that is one concept. Also, tetanus, right? A lot of us are still actively traveling, and so it's extremely important when we are going places, whether we are going to the beach or we're going hiking or we're somewhere where we could be outside and we could rub up or get cut by something. You kind of want to be out there where you can be protected, because the one thing we want to avoid getting is gangrene, guys, right? Like that's pretty much why we're doing this. And so I think it's extremely important that we protect ourselves, because the bigger concern is if you get cut by something or bit by something, you want to be protected. So I always encourage all of my patients, if they're going to do any type of traveling, whether it's internationally or just in the area or in the continental United States, making sure that you're up to date with that. And then the last one that a lot of times we forget about, and someone even brought it up to my attention. I was like, oh, that's correct. We should be thinking about that, is our hepatitis B vaccination.
Okay.
Right? So hepatitis.
Talk about that.
Hepatitis B. What we're starting to notice. So hepatitis can cause chronic liver disease. For some of us, it can cause liver cancer. It can also cause cirrhosis, right? And so that means you have your liver just becomes really fibrotic. For certain Medicare beneficiaries, including those with certain risk factors such as diabetes or end-stage renal disease, so people who are on dialysis, hepatitis B vaccination is also something that should be considered. And for that reason in particular, we don't want you to have liver disease in addition to your other chronic medical conditions that you have. And so it's extremely important to just make sure that we're up to date with that. It makes a lot of sense for our dialysis patients simply because they're really exposed to a lot of exchanges of different bodily fluids.
Okay.
Right? That's what happens in dialysis. Some of us have what's called hemodialysis, and so you're getting your blood basically taken out of your body. Someone is cleaning it and putting it back into your body. That process sometimes can create issues where you might need a transfusion, or you're just being exposed to bodily fluids that could contain that. And you're more than likely going to be hospitalized or be exposed to the hospital, the medical community, I'll say. And so it's extremely important that you are protected, because typically the two things that dialysis patients and diabetic patients are exposed to a lot are needles.
Yes.
Right? And so those are the scenarios where you want to protect yourself. So for those who are at that kind of risk, I would also ask that question as well about hepatitis B. So those are the other two outside of my big five.
Your big five.
It's the other ones that we always have to kind of circle back to is tetanus for everybody. And if you're someone who is diabetic or someone who has end-stage renal disease, or you're in and out of the hospital a lot where they have to like poke you and pull blood from you, hepatitis B is not a bad thought either.
Okay, and then you also mentioned whooping cough.
Well, that falls into the that falls into your tetanus shot.
Right.
That's so it's whooping cough. Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely whooping cough. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Wow. Tons of information.
Yeah.
Thank you so. But the timing, I think, was perfect.
Huge.
I love the fact that August is Immunization Awareness Month, not like December, or something like that, because this is really the time to start it. I'm on this. I'm really on this. Flu and COVID easy. I do them at the senior center. It's but shingles is going to be this week because the timing on that will be perfect. And then we'll add pneumonia, and we'll add something else that I was RSV.
There you go.
All right. If you are just joining us, my guest this morning has been Dr. Akinyele Lovelace. Dr. Lovelace is a primary care physician here in Westfield. Joins us monthly. Hopefully, we'll get back on our monthly schedule.
We're back.
So we are so glad that you are here. Thank
Happy
you
to be
so
here.
much for coming. You are listening to WSFD 107.5 FM on your dial. You're watching cable channel 15 WCPC. We'll be back after our top of the hour break.
Underwriting for community radio is provided by the YMCA of Greater Westfield. Every day, the YMCA strengthens the community through programs and services focused on youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. For all the Y's many programs and services, visit us on the web at www.westfieldymca.org. The YMCA, 67 Court Street in downtown Westfield. We're more than a gym. We're a cause.
Hi, it's Bob Plass, and I have Wow, It's Tuesday every Tuesday, 6 to 8. Wow, it's Tuesday.
Community Radio.
107.5 FM, WSFD.
I did it!
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 107.5 FM, WSFD-LP, Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:04. You are listening to WSFD 107.5 FM on your dial. You are watching cable channel 15, WCPC. My name is Tina Gorman. I am your Wake Up Wednesday host. I'm in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board and our chief engineer, Pete Coles, who right now is probably having a private consultation with Dr. Lovelace. I just want to say one other thing about vaccines, and I appreciate all of the advice and input and guidance that Dr. Lovelace gave us. I mentioned at the beginning of the show that Juanita Carnes had written an article back in July at the Westfield News on encouraging news on a Lyme vaccine. And it was interesting because when I read this article, I didn't realize that Lyme disease, the Northeast is one of the worst places in this country for Lyme disease. So this is especially important for us. But they are doing some phase 3 human trials have been completed, showing a 70 to 75% efficacy in ages 5 and upward, and was well tolerated. So this vaccine would create antibodies in the blood, and when the tick ingests vaccinated blood, it inhibits the bacterium from leaving the tick to infect the human host. So that's the idea behind this vaccine. I'm really big on this one because I have to tell you, anybody who owns animals and pets and dogs, and they have tick vaccines for dogs. So I think if we can get there for humans, I'm going to be one of the first in line. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll stay updated. But in the meantime, those big 5 that Dr. Akinyele mentioned, check and see where you are. And as I said, the flu and the COVID vaccines will be available at the Senior Center. We have 2 dates in early October that we'll be doing the shots at the center. You do have to pre-register. There is no charge. And so all of that will be in the newsletter, in the September newsletter, the Voice of Experience newsletter that will come out a week from Saturday. So all the explanation on how to sign up and pre-register for those at the Senior Center. All right, August 19th, famous birthdays. Today is the birthday of the late Orville Wright. It is also National Aviation Day, and I think because it is the birthday of aviator Orville Wright, he was born on this day in 1871 in Dayton, Ohio. He died in 1948 at the age of 76. Orville Wright, together with his brother Wilbur Wright, revolutionized transportation with the invention of the airplane. The Wright brothers' early interest in flight was sparked by a toy helicopter their father brought home when they were children. They began their experimental journey into aviation by studying the flights of birds and later transitioned to designing and testing kites and gliders. Their experiments led to the development of 3-axis control, a system that is still used in all fixed-wing aircrafts to this day. On December 17, 1903, Orville piloted the first powered, controlled, and sustained flight, covering 120 feet in 12 seconds. The Wright brothers continued refining their designs, and in 1905 built the Wright Flyer 3, which was capable of fully controllable, stable flight for significant distances. Orville also served on various aviation boards and commissions, including a 1920 appointment to the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, a precursor to today's National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA. Despite the profound impact of his work and his brother's work, Orville remained modest and reserved throughout his life. He died of a heart attack at the age of 76. So happy birthday to the late Orville Wright, aviator, and really, when we think of airplanes and flight, we think of the Wright brothers, and, think about where we would be today without flight, without airplanes, without, it's just amazing. I mean, I think just about everybody has flown at one point or another, and makes it so easy to get from one place to another, especially when you're traveling the world. Okay, August is National Breastfeeding Month. So in addition to being Immunization Awareness Month, it is also National Breastfeeding Month. So now is the perfect time to explore the powerful benefits of breastfeeding for both babies and for moms. Far from being merely a lifestyle choice, breastfeeding is a powerful investment in lifelong health. The science is very clear. Breast milk is nature's perfect food for infants. The Centers for Disease Control highlights that breastfed babies have significantly lower risk of a multitude of health issues, including ear infections, respiratory tract infections, gastrointestinal problems, asthma, obesity, and type 1 diabetes. Furthermore, breastfeeding has been linked to a reduced risk of sudden infant death syndrome, or SIDS. This protective effect stems from the unique composition of breast milk, which changes to meet a baby's evolving nutritional needs and delivers vital antibodies from the mother, bolstering the infant's developing immune system. But the advantages don't stop with the baby. Mothers who breastfeed also reap substantial health rewards. According to the CDC, breastfeeding can lower a mother's risk of developing breast and ovarian cancers, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, and even osteoporosis. The act of breastfeeding also triggers the release of oxytocin, a hormone that helps the uterus return to its pre-pregnancy size, reducing postpartum bleeding and promoting bonding. Additionally, breastfeeding can aid in postpartum weight loss, as lactation burns extra calories. Despite these compelling health benefits, national breastfeeding rates, while improving, still show room for growth. The CDC's 2022 breastfeeding report card reveals that among infants born in 2019, 83.2% started out receiving some breast milk, which is great. However, by 6 months, only 55.8% were still receiving any breast milk, and just 24.9% were exclusively breastfed. This decline indicates the need for stronger support systems to help mothers reach their breastfeeding goals. Supporting mothers in their decision to breastfeed is paramount. This August, understanding breastfeeding's profound impact on health is key. When communities foster environments that support breastfeeding mothers, more women can give their babies the best possible start in life while also safeguarding their own long-term well-being. It's an investment that pays dividends for generations to come, building a healthier future, one family at a time. And I think, there are some, breastfeeding is an art. There's actually a book that the La Leche League put out many years ago called The Art of Breastfeeding. And there is a bit of an art to it. It's not, we think of it as something being very natural. But, and I breastfed my daughter until she was 18 months. And she breastfed her daughter, my granddaughter, until she was 2. But, it took a little bit to get the hang of it and the knack of it, especially when the baby is just a newborn infant. But usually as the baby gets older, they sort of get the hang of it. Mom gets the hang of it. Then it becomes more of an issue of, can you breastfeed in the workplace? Can you pump in the workplace? Can you breastfeed in public? Can you breastfeed if you're going to school? I know I've done this shout out before, but I'm going to do it again. My daughter at the time, my granddaughter was born in late July 3 years ago. Grace was starting back to school at Holyoke Community College just 6 weeks later. She was exclusively breastfeeding. She had dropped to part-time from full-time to part-time, but she had the issue of, if I have to pump, which she was going to have to do on the days that she was, that she was at school. Where do I do that? Do I have to go out to my car? I mean, what do I do in December? It's going to be freezing out there, and I'm going to be out in the parking lot. And so I encouraged her to go to Student Support Services and ask if there was a place on campus. And it turns out that there is. And very few people knew about it. Very few people had requested it. But there is a room that's exclusively for breastfeeding moms. And Grace said it was wonderful. They gave her the combination of how to get into the room whenever she needed it. There was a refrigerator in there so she could store the milk while she went back to class and finished up for the day, and then would go back and grab it out of the refrigerator when she headed home. She said there was a beautiful, nice reclining chair. It was very private. And I think those are the kinds of things that we need to do. And I really applaud Holyoke Community College for doing that, because they have a lot of non-traditional students. So they have a lot of moms and new moms and single moms and, moms that are really, trying to do best for their babies all the way around. So I think we need that. I can tell you that I had, when we had one of our nurses, when we were at the old senior center, and our nurse Jen had given birth, and had come to me, and same thing. She said, I need to pump. Is there a spot? Well, that was more challenging because the old senior center was very small, but I said, we will absolutely figure something out, which we did. I really truly believe that nursing moms should not be relegated to having to, do pumping in a restroom or nursing in a restroom. So anyway, I think this is a good month to just be aware of all that, be supportive of all that. If you have a member of your family that's nursing or trying to nurse, be encouraging, be supportive, and offer them privacy if they need some privacy. I have to say, one of the hotels and one of the local hotels up in Northampton, I was attending a conference when I was nursing Grace. This was many, many years ago. And I asked them before I registered for the conference, and they said, absolutely, we'll give you a room. I said, all I need, I won't dirty it at all. I don't need to use anything other than I need to sit in a chair and they said, yep, you got it. So it's that kind of open-mindedness that I think really is supportive to nursing moms. All right, it is 7:16. You are listening to WSFD 107.5 FM on your dial. You are watching cable channel 15, WCPC. And in honor of the birthday of Orville Wright, we are going to listen to Those Magnificent Men in Their Flying Machines, the soundtrack. We'll be back.
Magnificent men in their flying machine. They go up to the up, they go down to the down. They enchant all the ladies and steal all the scene with their up to the up, and then down to the down. Up, down, flying around, looping the loop and defying the ground. They're all frightfully keen, those magnificent men in their flying machines. They can fly upside down with their feet in the air. They don't think of danger, they really don't care. Newton would think he had made a mistake to see those young men and the chances they take. Those magnificent men in their flying machines, they go up to the up, they go down to the down. They enchant all the ladies and steal all the scenes with their up to the up, and their down to the down. Up, down, flying around, looping the loop and defying the ground. They're all frightfully keen, those magnificent men in their flying machine. magnificent men in their flying machines. They go up to the up, they go down to the down. Those magnificent men, those magnificent men, those magnificent men in their flying machines.
Support for the community programming provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
Join me, Tina Gorman, each week from 6 to 8 a.m. for Wake Up Wednesday, when my guests and I discuss health, wellness, and lifestyle reimagined.
Community Radio.
107.5 FM WSFD. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 107.5 FM WSFD-LP Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:19. You are listening to WSFD 107.5 FM on your dial, and you are watching Cable Channel 15 WCPC. My name is Tina Gorman. I am your Wake Up Wednesday host. I'm in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board and our chief engineer, Pete Coles. Good morning, Pete.
Good morning. Sorry about that. I was catching up with the duck.
Well, I figured you were doing, had a little private consultation going on. We have to grab them while we can. You know, it's been a little while.
Yes. And full disclosure, he's my primary care. So.
He is. Yeah, no, we know that. And hey, I would have done the exact same thing. Are you kidding? No worries. No worries at all. All right, let's do a few announcements about what's happening in Westfield. Coming up, we have a big weekend. Pete mentioned before, actually, this is not Westfield, but Southwick. But just remember that Southwick is having their big doings this next weekend. Theirs is on the 29th, so that's plan ahead. Put that on your calendar. This weekend coming up, well, first of all, tomorrow, as always, every Thursday is the Westfield Farmers Market, and that will go through until mid-October. So it's noon to 5 p.m., rain or shine, and I believe there's no rain in the forecast, so you don't have to worry about that. The farmers market is held on the grounds of the Episcopal Church of the Atonement, which is at 36 Court Street. Parking is behind the church, although there are a lot of people that walk over there. I see walkers and people with their carts. You know, they're bringing their carts. And there's a little play area for kids if you have some children or grandchildren that you want to take over there.
Usually there's music involved, too.
There is music.
By the cultural council.
Yes, there is music. And, every week. And I can tell you who the musicians are for tomorrow. Actually, I checked it out on my way in this morning. So Jacob Cordis is going to be playing from noon to 2:30, and I'll tell you about that in a second. And then Ed Bentley is going to be playing from 2:30 to 5. Both of them have performed at the Senior Center. Jacob, by the way, so I'll do my little Jacob Cordis commercial for you here. Jacob will be at the Senior Center the next morning. Jacob's doing our Friday breakfast bonus this week. So he will be playing at the Senior Center from 8:30 to 9:30 this Friday. I believe that waffles are on the menu with strawberries and cream. So it's going to be an awesome breakfast. It is filling up fast. So remember, you do have to pre-register for that. So I would suggest you call or stop in and pre-register for that breakfast. That's this Friday. And Jacob does a mix of classic rock, country, and pop. He's been very well received at the Senior Center, and so we've asked him back. And I keep running into Jacob at Big Y, at what I call the little Big Y, the one over by the skating rink. And I ran into him the other day, and I said to him, "Are you all?" He said, "I'm all ready." But he'll also be playing at the farmers market tomorrow. And then Ed Bentley has also been on the show. And I think during COVID, Ed taped something for us for the entertainment segment.
Yes, he did.
So he will be playing. Remember that if you are a SNAP recipient, if you get SNAP benefits, and you go to the farmers market, if you're not familiar, you can use your SNAP benefits and you get sort of bonus points and bigger bang for the buck. That's all I have to say. Stop at the SNAP tent and they will explain to you how it works. And if need be, they will literally hold your hand, take you over to the vendors and show you how that works. So, take advantage of, and the idea behind getting those extra benefits is that, the government is really encouraging you to eat healthy. So they want you to be, using your benefits for fresh fruits and vegetables and things like that. So take advantage of that and stay healthy. Also this weekend, beginning Friday, is the Westfield Fair, which is located at 137 Russellville Road. So they will have antique tractor pull, petting zoo, demo derby, a beer garden, lawnmower racing, horse and ox draws, and of course live music. Grace is really bummed because she said she last year she didn't have Charlie on the weekend of the Westfield Fair, but her dad took her. And she said, well, and I think he'll take her again. But Grace goes, but I want to go. So I said, well, meet him there. Admission, adults, $15. Oh, yeah, they can do that.
Sure, yeah.
She said, she goes, I might do that. Let me find out what time he's going. Adults, $15. Seniors and military, $12. And children 12 and under are free. And parking is free. So that ought to be a lot of fun. And I'm sure there's a website around somewhere. That gives you all the time, because the only thing that I don't have is what time it starts, but I think this is like an all day kind of thing. So.
Yeah, I think they're open at like 9 or 10.
Usually, I was going to say, usually 10 o'clock's a sure bet. Also, this Friday, there are still 2 more of the children's programs at Stanley Park, the summer Friday morning children's programs. So this Friday, August 21st, will be hands-on creepy, crawly creatures. Discover some of our fascinating local bugs, such as beetles, worms, slugs, ladybugs, and caterpillars. Now, this may not be something that's for, the parents and the grandparents, but kids love this stuff. Through learning about them, we will gain a better understanding and appreciation of their importance to our lives and their role in our ecosystem. We'll observe bugs with magnifiers. That's always fun to do for kids. And then take a walk on a bug hunt to discover where insects can be found. So those take place on Friday mornings, 10 to 11 o'clock at the Beverage Pavilion. And you can check out the Stanley Park website if you want more information. My daughter's been taking my granddaughter. She's taken her to several. She took her last week, and they've been having a blast with this Friday morning. So enjoy that. And then this just came across my desk on Saturday, August 29th. So it's a week from Saturday at St. Joseph's National Catholic Church, which is right on Main Street in Westfield, right near the downtown area in the back parking lot. There will be an electronics recycling event. So there are certain things that they will take for free, and that will be bicycles, cell phones, keyboards. Oh, I'm looking at this going,
where's this? I got some stuff I got to get rid of.
Pete, I was doing the same thing. Wait, keyboards, I was cleaning out. I got that. I have cell phones. It is St. Joseph's National Catholic Church, right on Main Street. Yep, right on Main Street. Saturday, August 29th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. So that's a nice long time span. It's 5 hours worth.
I'll zip over there and get rid of some stuff and then go to Southwick.
So here's what's free, right? Bicycles, reusable, cell phones, keyboards, tablets, video game media and accessories, wires, chargers, cables, and car truck batteries. All towns are welcome, rain or shine. And then the ones that'll cost you are like computer towers, laptops, DVD players, VCRs, small printers, stereos. That's $5 each. Small household appliances, vacuum cleaners.
They need to bring $100
toasters.
bill.
Oh my gosh, this is great. Flat screen TVs, $20. TVs, the bigger ones, $25. But they're taking all kinds of. They're even taking refrigerators and ride-on lawnmowers for $35 each. This is awesome. Hey, this is the time to clean out, folks. So this is a Green Day recycling. I have the flyer. I'm going to make more copies of this. So I have the flyer on the bulletin board in the senior center when you first walk in, like where the vestibule is.
Yep.
And I will announce this again next week, but I think I'm going to print copies so people can actually take these home with them. This is fantastic. It just came across my desk literally late yesterday afternoon. So I grabbed it and I said, well, I'll announce it. And I hadn't actually read through the whole thing, but this is awesome. So St. Joseph's, thank you to St. Joseph's National Catholic Church for hosting this. All right, it is 7:28. You are listening to WCPC. You are watching. Yeah, you are listening to WSFD 107.5. This is what happens when you try to multitask. You are listening to WSFD 107.5. You are watching cable channel 15 WCPC, and I'm looking for my cheat sheet. That's why I got confused here. So in honor of Breastfeeding Month, we are going to listen to Elvis Presley singing Milk Cow Blues Boogie. We'll be back.
Oh, well, I woke up this morning and I looked out the door. I can tell that old milk cow by the way she looks. Hold it, fellas. That don't move me. Let's get real gone for a change. Well, I woke up this morning and I looked out the door. I can tell that old milk cow. I can tell the way she low. Now if you see my milk cow, please rock her on home. I ain't had no milk and butter since that cow's been gone. Well, I try to treat you right day by day. I do a little prayer book, get out on your knees and pray for you gonna need. You're gonna need your love and daddy's help someday. And you're gonna be sorry treating me this way. Oh, let's milk it. Well, good evening. Don't that sun look good going down? But don't that old moon look lonesome when your baby's not around? Well, I've tried everything to get along with you. I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna quit my crying. I'm gonna leave you alone. If you don't believe I'm leaving, you can count the days I'm gone. I'm gonna leave. You're gonna need your love and daddy's help someday. And you're gonna be sorry treating me this way.
Underwriting is brought to you by Boise Cascade Distribution, providing products and services needed for building material dealers, home improvement centers, and industrial customers. They offer everything from engineered wood and plywood to Drex decking and railing, James Hardie siding, and Advantech subfloor. Located at 33 Fowler Street Extension in Westfield and on the web at bc.com, they are committed to providing quality products, great service, convenience, and value.
Hi, this is Harry Rock, host of Rock on Westfield every fourth Wednesday at 8 a.m. Tune in for my view of this place I call home.
Community Radio.
107.5 FM WSFD. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 107.5 FM WSFD-LP Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:31. You are listening to WSFD 107.5 FM on your dial. You are watching cable channel 15 WCPC. My name is Tina Gorman. I am your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board and our chief engineer, Pete Coles. Good morning, Pete.
Good morning.
So today is the birthday of the late Ogden Nash. Ogden Nash was a poet who wrote very humorous poetry. He was born on this day in 1902 in Rye, New York. Died in 1971 at the age of 68. He was an American poet well known for his light verse, of which he wrote more than 500 pieces. With his unconventional rhyming schemes, he was declared by the New York Times to be the country's best-known producer of humorous poetry. Throughout his life, Ogden Nash loved to rhyme. This is a quote. "I think in terms of rhyme, and I have since I was 6 years old," he stated in a 1958 news interview. He had a fondness for crafting his own words whenever rhyming words did not exist, but admitted that crafting rhymes was not always the easiest task. After a year at Harvard University, he was there from 1920 to 1921, Nash held a variety of jobs: advertising, teaching, editing, bond selling, before the success of his poetry enabled him to work full-time at it. He sold his first verse in 1930 to The New Yorker, on whose editorial staff he was employed at the time. With the publication of his first collection, Hard Lines, that was back in 1931, he began a 40-year career during which he produced 20 volumes of verse with titles such as The Bad Parents' Garden of Verse, that was in 1936, I'm a Stranger Here Myself, that was in 1938, and Everyone But Thee and Me in 1962. Making his home in Baltimore, he also did considerable lecturing on tours throughout the United States. His rhymes are jarringly off or disconcertingly exact, and his ragged stanzas vary from lines of one word to lines that meander the length of a paragraph, often interrupted by digressions. So I thought it would be fun to just, I found a few Ogden Nash poems that I thought it would be fun to read to you. And the last one I saved for you, Pete. It's a special one because you're still newly married, haven't hit the 1-year anniversary yet. But the first one was actually because Dr. Lovelace was here today. We were talking about vaccination and immunization. So the first one is called The Germ, and this is by Ogden Nash. A mighty creature is the germ, though smaller than the pachyderm. His customary dwelling place is deep within the human race. His childish pride he often pleases by giving people strange diseases. Do you, my puppet, feel infirm? You probably contain a germ. So that's the germ. This one is called The Purist. I give you now Professor Twist, a conscientious scientist. Trustees exclaim, he never bungles, and sent him off to distant jungles. Camped on a tropic riverside, one day he missed his loving bride. She had, the guide informed him later, been eaten by an alligator. Professor Twist could not but smile. You mean, he said, a crocodile. Remember the title, The Purist. And Pete, this one is to you. It's called A Word to Husbands. To keep your marriage brimming with love in the loving cup, whenever you're wrong, admit it. Whenever you're right, shut up. Oh, I love it. That one I'm posting on my refrigerator for my husband. Okay, well, we were talking about Moolicious ice cream before and Joe Didi. Well, August 19th is National Soft Ice Cream Day. So, Soft Ice Cream Day, interesting history of how this day got started. National Soft Ice Cream Day on August 19th gives us a tasty way to cool off on a hot summer day. Whether you enjoy it in a bowl or on a cone, grab some soft serve and enjoy. In 1934, on Memorial Day weekend in Hartsdale, New York, Tom Carvel had a flat tire. After pulling his ice cream truck into a parking lot, the businessman knew his product was melting. As vacationers drove by, Carvel sold the softened ice cream to them. Surprisingly, they loved it. The potential for a new dessert was not lost on the salesman. Instead of a roving ice cream truck, Carvel could have a fixed location with soft ice cream. 2 years later, Tom Carvel opened his first ice cream store on the site where his truck broke down. In the preceding years, Carvel patented a super low temperature ice cream machine and created a secret formula ice cream. It wasn't long before other businesses began to crop up. The hard ice cream industry began to object. Despite both products providing similar flavors, servings, and enjoyment, they were different. Hard ice cream business did suffer a reduction in revenue during the first years of soft ice cream's popularity. So how different are soft and hard ice creams? Well, while they're made with the same ingredients, soft ice cream has less milk fat. It also has more air than hard ice cream. Both of these factors contribute to the ice cream being more delicate and smoother. The milk fats in the hard ice cream cause it to be firmer when frozen. Another difference is the temperatures the ice creams are kept frozen. Soft ice cream machines keep a temperature of minus 6 degrees Celsius. However, hard ice cream is kept at a temperature of minus 12 degrees Celsius. While that might not seem like a big difference, the evidence is in the ice cream creams. So there you have it, National Soft Ice Cream. I love soft ice cream.
It's also about the flavor, too, because at a warmer temperature, there's more flavor. That's why people prefer soft serve.
I did not know that.
Yep, you can taste it more at a higher temperature.
Now, here's my thing for, I really do love soft ice cream. So what I do with regular hard ice cream is I take it out of the freezer, I scoop it into my bowl, and then I let it sit for about 20 minutes before I eat it. It's actually the same way that soft ice cream was invented. It's exactly what happened to Tom Carvel's when he broke down.
If you let it warm up a little bit, then you can taste it more.
It's creamier and smoother, and I
By the way,
like it better.
I know you don't have social media.
Yes, I do.
So I brought this video in for you.
Thank you.
We have a poser at my house.
A poser? Oh. Hi, guys. How are you? Oh, my gosh. And look at that. It's like the perfect picture.
He's curious that it's following him.
Yeah.
He looks like a young guy, too.
Oh, my gosh.
Getting ready for winter.
That's all right. He is getting ready for winter.
But he just keeps looking at the camera. It's hilarious.
And then he keeps changing. So here, this is my better side. Wait, let me do something here.
He thought he got away, and then it moved after him.
Let me prance around.
Stand right up. He stood right up and looking at it. He's like trying to figure out if it's going to come after him.
Oh my gosh!
I think he's trying to figure out if it's a predator or not.
Where do you have the camera, Pete?
It's mounted to a tree in my backyard, so we can see the dog when he's out.
Ah.
That's our backyard visitor.
Oh my goodness, that's great. That was a great video. That was a great video.
Yeah, so we put that out there so we could keep an eye on the dog because he likes to go out and just sit in the backyard. Mm-hmm. Want to make sure nothing happens to him.
Sure, of course.
So we have one in the backyard that can see the one side yard, and one in the front yard that can see the other side yard. So we just make sure he's okay.
Yeah. Well, and
they're solar operated, so.
Back in the day, this was many, many years ago when I was a kid growing up, my brother had a dog. It was a beagle, Punky, and we loved him. He was the runt of the litter, so that's how he got his name. And we had this big fenced-in, it wasn't a fenced-in yard, but it was a big fenced-in area that my grandfather had built years and years before that for us when we were kids. It was like a big outside playpen, but it was huge. So we set it up for the dog, and we put the dog house in the middle of the playpen, thinking this would be great for the dog, to roam around and everything. It was great, except that we had some juvenile delinquents living in our neighborhood who thought, well, it wasn't funny, Pete, because they started really sort of torturing the dog. They would throw rocks at the dogs and things like that.
I thought they might have opened a gate or something.
No, you couldn't open it. You had to climb over it, and it was pretty tall.
Gotcha.
So the dog, would take to kind of having to crouch into the doghouse. And we didn't know any of this was happening because we were all working or at school. And these were young kids. They were not adults.
Yep.
And, we ended up having to put the dog down because the dog got to be so aggressive with strangers. He was okay with us.
Got neurotic.
And yes, and he badly bit a friend of mine who had come to visit, and the dog was on the leash. We had it in the backyard, but she didn't know, and she went to pet it. And before I realized what was happening, and I said, no, don't go near the dog. It bit her on the cheek and on the leg, and she had to have plastic surgery.
Because they assumed that it was tormenting.
Of course. And so I'll tell you what, I wish we had cameras, because it wasn't until my mother happened to be home one afternoon, looked out and saw what was going on. And that explained it, because we couldn't figure out, what the heck is going on? Why is this dog, suddenly... Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad. All right, let's take a break, and then I've got lots more senior center announcements. Okay. And then I know we've got everything Southwick coming up after me.
Yep.
So we're going to take a short break. You are listening to WSFD 107.5 FM on your dial. You're watching cable channel 15 WCPC. And we are going to listen to The Purple People Eater by Sheb Woolley. And when we come back, we're going to talk about our upcoming totally fun fitness classes active in August for Alzheimer's Big Purple event that's happening a week from tomorrow. So let's listen to the song and then we'll talk about the event. We'll be back.
Well, I saw the thing coming out of the sky. It had a one long horn and one big eye. I commenced to shaking and I said, ooh-wee. It looks like a purple people eater to me. It was a one-eyed, one-horn flying purple people eater.
One-eyed, one-horn flying purple people eater.
A one-eyed, one-horn flying purple people eater sure looks strange to me.
One-eyed?
Really came down to earth and he lit in the tree. I said, Mr. Purple People Eater, don't eat me. I heard him say in a voice so gruff,
I wouldn't eat you 'cause you're so tough.
it was a one-eyed, one-horn flying purple people eater.
One-eyed, one-horn flying purple people eater.
One-eyed, one-horn flying purple people eater sure looks strange to me.
One-horn?
I said, Mr. Purple People Eater, what's your line? He said, eating purple people and it sure is fine. But that's not the reason that I came to land.
I want to get a job in a rock and roll band.
Well, bless my soul, rock and roll, flying purple people eater. Pigeon-toed, undergrowth, flying purple people eater.
He wears short shorts.
Friendly little people eater, what a sight to see. And then he swung from the tree and he lit on the ground and he started to rock, really rocking around. It was a crazy ditty with a swinging tune.
Sing a bop bop a boop a lap a loom bam boom.
Well, bless my soul, rock and roll, flying purple people eater. Pigeon-toed, undergrowth, flying purple people eater.
I like short shorts.
Flying purple people eater, what a sight to see.
Purple people.
Well, he went on his way and then what do you know? I saw him last night on a TV show. He was blowing it out, really knocking him dead. Playing rock and roll music through the horn in his head.
Underwriting for community radio is provided by the YMCA of Greater Westfield. Every day, the YMCA strengthens the community through programs and services focused on youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. For all the Y's many programs and services, visit us on the web at www.westfieldymca.org. The YMCA, 67 Court Street in downtown Westfield. We're more than a gym. We're a cause.
Hi, this is Harry Rock, host of Rock on Westfield every fourth Wednesday at 8 a.m. Tune in for my view of this place I call home.
Community Radio.
107.5 FM WSFD. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 107.5 FM WSFD-LP Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:46. You are listening to WSFD 107.5 FM on your dial. You are watching cable channel 15 WCPC. My name is Tina Gorman. I am your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board and our chief engineer, Pete Coles. And we need to talk about the upcoming event that we're having at the Senior Center a week from tomorrow. It's our Big Purple Totally Fun Fitness class. So many of you know that throughout the month of August, we have been running a program. This is our second annual. We did it last year, and we did it again this year. It's called Active in August for Alzheimer's. And this is our way of giving back to the Alzheimer's Association, which provides, research and education and respite for folks with Alzheimer's. Support groups. There's a support group that's sponsored by them at Ormbrook Village on the last Wednesday of the month. So we like to support the Alzheimer's Association, and we do it through our Totally Fun Fitness class. So what happens is during the month of August, and so we've been running this class all month. Carol Palmer teaches the class, but we do it as a drop-in pay-as-you-go class. So it's $5, pay as you go, and all of that money is going to get donated to the Alzheimer's Association. the culmination of this big August event is what we call our Big Purple Totally Fun Fitness class. The reason for purple is the official color of the Alzheimer's Association. So a week from tomorrow, which is Thursday, August 27th, from 9:30 to 10:20, we are going to have one big Totally Fun Fitness class in the Great Room. We did this last year, and it was a blast. We really had so much fun. We had a huge group. Everybody pays their $5. All of that is going to the Alzheimer's Association. It doesn't matter whether you've never done the Totally Fun Fitness class. Carol Palmer and Lori Furkey are usually leading the group. The exercises are fun. They're simple. We have a lot of laughs. Everybody wears purple. We even had Mike Squindo, our director, last year in his purple attire, help doing the exercising. It was hilarious. I have it on film. So I figure I can, at some point I can use it as a bribe. But anyway, this will, again, benefit our local Alzheimer's Association. So you are welcome. There is no advance sign up. Next Thursday, just show up. Class starts at 9:30. Now, I do want to make this other announcement. Carol did have to cancel her next Tuesday Totally Fun Fitness class. So the last class that we'll do this month as a drop-in supporting the Alzheimer's Association will be tomorrow. So again, it's pay as you go. It's $5. Tomorrow's classes are the regular times, either 9:30 or 10:15. 9:30 or 10:30. I'm not even sure what 9:15 and 10:15, I think, are her classes. Anyway, it's in the newsletter, but Tuesday's Totally Fun Fitness classes had to be canceled. She had another commitment. But next Thursday's our Big Purple class. Join in. There will be a lot of staff, a lot of the Totally Fun Fitness people, and we hope other people as well. It's a great time to try it out. And it's all, kind of at your own pace. I also want to mention some of the other fitness classes that we have going on right now, especially the newer ones. So we've been running a Tai Chi class on Mondays from 11:30 to 12:30. It is free of charge. The instructor is Judy Duffy. It's a really great class. I've been participating. It's been good rehab for me, having had 2 foot surgeries in the last 8 months. It's really great for balance. It's good for memory and certainly for some control because it's very slow moving. So if you need that slowness, if you are, as I was, recovering from surgery or hospitalization, this is a great class. Again, that's on Mondays from 11:30 to 12:30. The instructor is Judy Duffy, and Ruthie Dagno and Ellie Burke are also kind of helping out. They've taken the class with Judy for quite a while now, so we kind of put them in the front row, and so we have 3 people that we can follow while we're doing this. We have also moved our Yoga for Strength class from Friday afternoons to Tuesday afternoons. So we're hoping that's more convenient for people. That class is $5, pay as you go, so you don't have to pre-register or sign up in advance. And it's Tuesdays from 2:30 to 3:30. The instructor is Angelica Lopez. So this is great for simple movements, balance improvement, and support for everyday activities. You do need to bring a yoga mat, so bring your own yoga mat with you. We also have a class called Groove, and we like to say, get your groove on. So that is offered Wednesdays from 9 to 9:45. The instructor is Carrie Bodendorf, and that one is $3, pay as you go. Groove is, in case you don't know what it is, because I didn't really know what it was, it's a joyful, low-impact, dance-based class for all abilities. So if you need to do it in a chair, you can. You do not need to have any dance skills. So, for people who say, oh, I can't dance or I'm not coordinated, doesn't matter. It's Groove and you can do it. And I have to tell you, the people who have done it, including our receptionist, our front desk greeter, Sandra Fisher, said it's fabulous. So they're having a lot of fun with it. We also have a beginner line dancing class, and that is offered on Wednesdays from 11 to 12:30. It's $3. Again, pay as you go. You don't have to pre-register for that. Most of the fitness classes now you don't have to pre-register for. The only ones you do have to pre-register for generally are the chair yoga classes, and usually Totally Fun Fitness just with the exception of the month of August. So beginner line dancing, the instructor is Jeanette Pierce. And then let's see, and then our regular, lineup that we normally do. So those are some of the the newer classes that are fitness classes. And of course, we have our Zumba Gold class, which is offered on Monday morning. And our other Zumba Gold Club, the Mondays is Becca Perrone, and Wednesdays is Millie Odabashian. And Millie will be back she took a summer hiatus because she has young children, but she will be back in September. So that will be in the September newsletter. Speaking of movement, we have Ballroom Dance with Richie Mitnick on Tuesday, August 25th. It's usually the fourth Tuesday of the month from 1:30 to 3:30. No sign-ups. It's complimentary. There's no charge. All are welcome to dance the afternoon away or to listen to live music, to watch the dancers, to socialize and maybe have a snack. So don't feel like you
Richie's
can't
a bit
come.
of a comedian too.
Yeah,
so.
Richie's a lot of fun. And and we have people who just come to listen, or if you're solo, they do some sort of line dancing type things where you can just jump right in if you don't have a partner. So please feel free. All are welcome. We do it in the great room, so there's plenty of space in there. So it'll be Tuesday, August 25th. From 1:30 to 3:30. I also want to mention that Bay State Hearing Aid Service, Jeff Halls, will be back with us this month. He had to take a bit of a sabbatical as well, but he is back beginning on August 25th. I know he's full right now with a wait list, but he's usually here the last Tuesday of the month. But I just wanted to mention that he is back because he had to take several months off.
Question for you: are Whip City Travelers doing any day trips to the Big E?
We are
arranging for like a bus transportation.
They are completely separate now from the senior center, so they're not. The only thing that we do, Pete, is we do have, and I will bring it up to Janet Picard because I think Janet she coordinates now with one of the local travel agents or travel agencies. So yeah, they're their own separate entity. So they no longer have an office at the senior center. Correct.
Wow.
Yeah,
that means they've grown.
They have, but they do have all of their listings for everything that they're doing. And it is interesting that you bring up the Big E because we do now have a senior center van.
Well, that was my second suggestion.
Yeah, so we can talk to Mike. I can talk to Mike about that, and
maybe
Elena, our
one
transportation coordinator.
Different, like a one time to go over from the senior center and then drop back off at the senior center.
Right. Yeah, I'll talk to Mike about that.
That way, people could park there that have senior center cards, not just the general public.
Right. Yes. They would have to be members.
That would be members, right, and could do a shuttle over and back.
All right. Well, I will talk to Mike about that. We'll see. That's definitely an idea, and I'll also talk to the Whip City Travelers about it as well. But good suggestion. Thanks for bringing.
Because I know that one of the biggest things for a lot of seniors is you have to park
and then walk
so far, and that a shuttle could drop you off right at the gate.
Yeah, they used to take a bus. The Whip City Travelers used to every year. They took a bus. They did the bus. They would rent like a school bus or a whatever kind of bus.
Yeah, a coach.
But a coach. But then they had the numbers started to decline, and so they couldn't. They weren't filling it.
Right.
So then they stopped, and then they got requests to start again, and then COVID hit. The rest is history,
exactly.
So to speak.
Sure,
so,
yep.
But that's a good suggestion, Pete, and I will mention that to Mike. And there will be an article in the September newsletter because the van kind of got snuck in there in between newsletters.
Well, it had been talked about for so long.
Yep. 3 years.
When everything finally happened, it was like, whoa, hey, it's here.
And what happened was we had gotten it, but we had to have all the signage put on it, and that took
certification.
Yeah, and the insurances and all that. So
I know.
It was same thing. So what ended up happening was I kept saying to Mike, can I write an article for any? Not yet.
It's interesting for a department that's never had a vehicle before to first time with a vehicle because you don't know if the rules are the same. There's how to do it for your car.
Yeah. Right. Well,
You
I
don't
have
quite
to
know
say,
how to do it out for
I
a
know.
city
I have
vehicle.
to say, for Mike, he did this in Agawam,
Oh.
which was one of the. I mean, that was like a big selling point on his job interview. You know, he said, "I can start a transportation program because I started one in Agawam," so it was really perfect. So he knew the steps, but what you don't know is the timing.
Yep.
You know, like he dropped it off at the sign shop, and you know, well, how long is this going to take? And it took a lot longer than we had originally anticipated. There were
See,
some other,
I had mine delivered that way.
Yeah.
That was part of the package. I made sure that was part of the
Yeah.
package when I bought the thing.
Well, this was grant funded through the PVTA, so we couldn't do it that way. We had
Gotcha.
to do the signage ourselves, and just even designing it and so forth. So it took a little longer, but then, as you said, it's like once it was ready, it's like, okay, come on down and pick it up. Well, by that time, the August newsletter was already out. It was too late.
Sure, yeah.
So anyway, we'll have a little article in the September newsletter. We do have a transportation coordinator, Elena. And she actually has a separate phone number. So I will have all of that information coming up next week with a flyer and all of that good stuff. But I will put the bug in their ear, Pete, about the Big E. All right, folks, it is 7:58. I know that Doug is here and waiting in the wings,
Yep.
so I'm going to sign off. We didn't get to one of our songs, Pete, so maybe we can do that on the way out. I had this was for the immunization topic. It's Rockin' Pneumonia and the Boogie Woogie Boogie Woogie Flu by Johnny Rivers. You are listening to WSFD 107.5 FM on your dial. You're watching cable channel 15 WCPC. Next week, I'm going to have Nikki Cornelius on from Stanley Park. We're going to talk about the Run Stanley event and also the upcoming big fall fundraiser upcoming event that they do at Stanley, along with all the other things that they're doing at Stanley. So I will see you next week. Doug Moglin is up next with Everything Southwick.